Hey, Travis.
Yeah.
I know I've brought this up before, but I still feel like I need more than this.
More than this?
Yeah, more than this. More than this podcast. Standing Against Evil is too much awesome show for one podcast to cover. But where could I possibly go to share such my unabashed love for a show like this? I just don't know, Travis. Where on a social media pages, where would you find like-minded people in a way? It seems like it can't be done.
Here.
What's that?
I feel like you're leading me on here.
It's impossible. I'm not reading off a script. Or if I was, you couldn't prove it because of my awesome script read. That's just impossible. Oh, but you know where you can find like-minded people who love Stand Against Evil as much as maybe us. I don't know if anyone loves it as much as us because, like, who could?
Because we're here doing this.
But how about some content? Like, yeah, does anyone else have a Stand Against Evil podcast? Nope, that's just me.
Those are fighting words. I wouldn't put that out.
Yeah, now we're just begging for competition. But you know where that competition might come from? Why? It might come from the Stand Against Evil fan club, which you can find on their Facebook page at Stand Against Evil Fan Club or at their Twitter at Stand Against Evil Fans. And they have some great stuff over there, like trivia on the weekends and, you know, just people hanging out and talking about the show. Certain great episodes, including some that may or may not have wereponies in them.
Possibly.
I mean, who could know? The only way to find out is to go to those pages and find out. Go, flee, my brethren. But yes, with that out of the way, I think it's time to get into the show because I definitely feel a little. Now that the moon is coming up, and I just feel, nay, no, nay.
Do you need some daffodils?
Oh, and welcome to Stand Against Evil, or a Stand Against Evil podcast known as Pod Against Evil.
There it is.
No, I know how to read the words. Those things are mine. Yep.
You know the thing you call the thing.
And yes, welcome to our podcast, our little old podcast where, again, maybe puzzles may not be abided, but speculation sure is. Today, we have the most special of special episodes with you because not only are we talking about one of the greatest, possibly the greatest Stand Against Evil episode, but we are bringing on our favorite, possibly the favorite guest of the podcast once again, Les Weiler. Les, say hi.
Hey, I was just wanting to put the pod band back together, and can I sleep on your porch for a couple days?
You absolutely can, sir.
Nope, sorry, you gotta sleep on the trash cans.
I'd say I'll sleep behind your trash cans, and you won't even know.
Yeah, I mean, do your raccoon thing, man. It's just, I think I find it adorable and a real hit with the ladies. So, Les, we have watched this episode a couple times. Les, is this your first time watching this episode?
It was. Because season 2 hadn't dropped anywhere that I'd already had a subscription to, I had watched the Black Hat Society episodes because we'd covered them, but then I was holding off and trying to bide my time and wait for it to drop somewhere, and so I finally caved and bought Werepony and watched it today.
How do you regret your purchase at all?
Oh no, I think this might actually be my favorite episode so far. I probably have said I haven't gone back and checked the audio, but I bet you can make a supercut of every one of these that we've done with me. Where I've probably said, I think this is my favorite episode.
Yes,
it's not my fault that they're all puns and time loops and large-scale mythology episodes, and yeah.
And ghost people. So it's hard to pick because I feel like there is no bad Stand Against Evil episode.
There's really not that I've seen yet.
I would say... That I feel like that is just a myth that it's not possible. Like that is actually rarer than a werepony. But this has to be the episode, guys, where Stand For Me hits its absolute stride, in which it is like they've hit the niche that I've wanted them to be in like the whole time, in which they're the comedy is here, the ridiculousness of the practical effect, and the fact that they just thought up the concept of indeed a werepony, in which I've looked it up, and so far I can't find any other people who have fought and defeated a werepony.
Yeah.
Did you find people that fought and didn't defeat one?
No, but I figured that the people who didn't defeat it would not show up on the record books. History is only written by the winners, and I'm pretty sure the wereponies would rather not know that people that they were in existence. Supernatural brothers, fuck them. They never fought a werepony.
Yeah, I want to see the Winchesters fight a werepony. Come on, bring it.
They might have killed Hitler, but you know what? Fuck it. They didn't kill Pony Hitler.
Sam didn't have shit to do with that. Dean killed Hitler.
The Scooby Gang, nope. Maybe a werewolf or two, but not a werepony, so fuck them too. Even Ash vs. the Evil Dead, not one dead-eyed pony to be seen. So I officially declare Stand Against Evil one of the greatest horror comedy series. That is just a fact now, because
they win just for this.
The majesty of the werepony cannot be denied. But without further ado, should we just get into the episode breakdown, guys?
Sure.
So we open on 1887, but of course whoever's writing the little what do you call them? The little crawls is pissed because they keep writing 1886 on their checks. I really like the crawls this season are great. Yeah. The crawls are getting a lot better. They've introduced them as almost all of them have a little bit of a joke to them.
I hadn't thought about it, but what you'd said about it feeling like this kind of hit its stride, like this is where the show really dialed in. I would agree now thinking back, the crawls are turned up just a little and exactly in their right place. There's some moments we'll mention later where David Kirchner as the guest star a little bit, his reactions to the weirdness of the town and the town's reactions to his weirdness, everybody's on the same page, and the show I feel like has it's the right level of not giving a shit about the plot of the werepony part, like the science behind the werepony part. Hey man, this stuff happens at Willard's Mill. Just roll.
Fucking weird. Just deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we start in a flashback. Yeah.
Oh, of course. We start a lot of season 2 episodes in the flashback.
And I love this flashback because it gives us so much fun dialogue that's just ridiculous.
Well, pardon my language, Travis, but I feel like a lot of this language is just plain sassafras or succotash. I'm sorry. And one may even say it's sucker and succotash.
Don't drink and ride, friend. Yeah.
I'd never think of it.
Because
absolute poppycock.
Stephen Ogg is the actor that moseys up and talks to the little fat sheriff at the start that walks him outside. And man, that guy.
Correct me if I'm wrong. He's one of Negan's crew in The Walking Dead, I believe.
Yes, he's Simon in The Walking Dead. He is currently Rebus on Westworld. The dipshits that are standing there with the apple in their head, getting shot in season 1 of Westworld. He's part of the crew, I think,
that's right. He's
takes a bunch of bullet holes and sits there drinking milk with shit running out of him. I think he's one of the first crew that something like that happens to. But he's just one of those actors that, absolutely rocks a ridiculous Western mustache. And I'm
his
old.
Mustache game is
I'm a little older. I'm 40, and so I went to junior high with people who actually had and wore that brush popper shirt that he rocks through this episode.
Wow.
That ridiculous Santa Fe stripe and black shirt. That was my whole junior high. All wore those.
That's great. I do enjoy this actor as well, and he is saddling up to the current sheriff of 1887.
And I think the sheriff might be attracted to him.
Well, he's he does have a line where he's like,
"Sweet corn, who's that?"
It is almost akin to, well, who's this tall drink of water?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he does have another line that I'm not sure is sexual, but I cannot tell. It's you look like an unfantastic and earthly fellow. I'm like, is that...
Would you care to break a curse?
What does that mean?
Let's swap some stories, friend. So, they get to talking. The sheriff gets wasted. our Stephen Ogg character is like, oh, you shouldn't drink and ride, and he's like, good suggestion, my friend. And he starts to walk away, and I'm not sure if he's walking home, but he ends up in this big field or whatever, and he starts talking to himself, which is weird. He gets off a line about like something being really funny about a woman vomiting a child out of their... What word did he use?
I couldn't even tell. I didn't want to hear it.
Pedundum. And I was like, I guess, is he talking about childbirth? I'm not 100% sure, because that is some old-timey speak. He then has to go to I think he has to go to the bathroom, or...
take the 310 to Yuma.
Because he's like, I believe the 310 to Yuma is arriving early.
Arriving a bit early. Yeah.
Which is like, how is that even a reference back then?
It shouldn't be.
That seems like that would be impossible, but whatever. And then
demons and magic and all that.
Yeah, I think he says perineum, which is just super weird.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah, that'd be the taint.
That would be indeed the taint.
So, of course, we hear a twig snap and a horse whinnying, and he tries to like, hey, is someone there? And wouldn't the question be like, hey, is someone and their horse there, or is just a horse? But
well, no one asks if your horse is there.
I suppose that'd be weird. Ridiculous.
Don't make it weird, Nick.
Yeah. And he he gets killed by a quick shot of our practical Werepony. And I believe me and Travis both time we were watching it, was like, oh yeah, this is the best episode ever.
This is amazing.
Like this is already like, from this point, it's just all downhill. It's just like, it's coasting from here, because this is amazing. Anything extra they do after this point is gravy, because that effect was great.
Yeah.
And opening. So we get to the present day ish. So that's
again the title card. I mean the title cards and stuff are on point. I love the addition of, because it's like present day
ish,
and then the ish appears.
Yeah. And it's like I'm wondering what they mean by that. Is like, is this an out of order episode? You know how like sometimes you'll get with serial episodes, you'll get one that might not fit the timeline exactly.
Yeah, but like we're gonna notice the difference.
Mm-hmm. You know, kind of like the Dragon Ball Z movies, where there's ones that have trunks in them, and you're kind of like, wait a minute, how does that fall in the timeline? Like, it's like, oh, it's during this time period, sort of, kind of.
I almost wonder, like Briscoe County Jr. or something, if like, are robots and ninjas going to show up at some point? Because like, it might be, a year in the future. Or 2 years in the, that like everyone, like, I'm wondering if they're setting up some thing of like, we never said. Well, you assumed it was today.
You'll be surprised later, as some of the references are actually more timely than they might actually appear. So I forget how this one actually.
Look, man, I already know I'm living through Omen 3: The Final Conflict. You don't have to fail it.
Oh my God, it is Omen 3. Wow, I haven't thought about it.
I really don't want to give credence to that. Like, there's actually like a huge doomsday, believer movement. I'm sure that is legit. Like, I'm joking. I don't actually think any biblical prophecies are coming through. I just think somebody.
I'm just shocked that someone reminded me of Omen 3 being a thing.
That's really. I don't feel like I'm actually living through a biblical prophecy. I feel like a lot of my government might have seen Omen 3 too many times.
Man, I told them they should have watched Daybreakers.
Right, it's really important what you put in front of kids.
Or giant man babies, whichever.
Well, I feel like if we're going to build a government off of monsters, we might as well get immortality out of it. That's just
fair.
That's just my
Actually,
take on it.
Do you really want immortal senators?
Well, they've already seemed to bathe in virgin's blood to where they live longer than any other people I can talk to.
Oh man!
Are you telling me Mitch McConnell is held together by anything but witchcraft?
Possibly turtle blood.
Virgin turtle. Oh my God, he's a were-turtle.
He is a were-turtle. That actually explains everything.
Yeah, that's. I'm glad they went with were-pony in this episode instead of were-turtle, though. Yeah. Now that I think about it,
indeed.
Were-tortoise I could live with, but were-turtle, no.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't have respect for any were animal that if you transformed on your back, you spend the whole full moon screwed.
Oh no!
I mean, that's all you'd have to do. Like, oh my God, you're a were-turtle? We'll just got to make sure you're on your back when the moon comes up, and you'll be fine. We'll just leave you there.
Why do we always sleep on your
Long as
side?
you-
No reason.
Oh no! Light shove backwards. My only weakness. What were we talking about?
Stan.
Evie has a daughter.
This is a liberal episode of Pot Against Evil.
So yeah, Evie has a daughter.
Oh yeah, that's right. She has a daughter this episode.
Just this episode, though.
Well,
She's on rent.
I mean, you got to admit, as much as we love this show, there are certain elements that seem to come in and out of it, and Evie being a mom seems to factor into some episodes, and then seems to not factor into a lot of the other episodes.
True.
I was honestly impressed that they actually have a written-in guest star and plot point that her daughter's actually like been somewhere at her dad's in Boston, and instead, because I was kind of just waiting for an episode where her daughter just wandered through the room,
Right.
and we went, oh yeah, you have a daughter. So I was at least like, hey, at least you guys made a nod in the friggin' dialogue to like, what the fuck has your kid been?
And it's like, and then you can kind of assume that in some of the previous episodes, she has been visiting her dad on like visitations or weekends or something like that.
I kind of gave him the Marvel no prize of like, okay, all right. We can smoke in space because you invented the blah, blah, blah. Wonderful.
So yeah, apparently that is happening, and Evie is Ken is Champ is his name?
Kenny.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Champ is another David Koechner character from Anchorman.
Oh, that's right. That's where
forget.
I'm remembering it
But
from.
no, David Koechner, who's been fucking terrifying in movies before and also hysterical in almost everything.
Yeah, and he's late bringing back Grace, and Evie's freaking out about it.
Stan offers off a helpful suggestion.
Yeah, well, at first he's mad about changing the police scanner codes.
Mine were easier to remember. 111 was young kids about to start trouble. 222 were old people bitching about shit. And 333 were dogs banging in the ballpark. Kadow.
Those are the three most common things in Willard's Mill.
Not, demon attacks.
That's all you need.
That sounds about right. I mean, I don't know which one he used for wereponies, but that's fine.
Probably something between, 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I don't see him going for decimals, man. Fake half-ass numbers.
Fair enough.
So, I think they get to talking about her ex, and Stan suggests that, well, I mean, if you want to know where he is, why don't you just, strap a transponder on his car? That way you know anytime where he is. And I believe Evie is like, well, that would be an abuse of power. And Stan fires back with, well, so spraying old people with bug spray.
No, blasting homeless people with bug spray. Yeah.
And it's like...
And they don't even get to follow up on that. Like, Evie just starts to look at him and they cut the scene.
Yeah, it's like, what?
Well, you got to figure it must relate to the scanner codes from earlier.
Probably.
222 was old people bitching about shit.
Yeah.
And if his
He
standard
blasts them with bug spray.
I mean, that's what he must be thinking about, so I'm assuming that that's how he solved that problem. And, maybe that's how he solved all the scanner codes now that I think about it.
Just blast them with bug... Yeah, young people about to start something, hit them with bug spray.
Bug spray.
Old people complaining about it, hit them with bug spray.
Yeah, and then when dogs fucking in the park, you hit them with bug spray. Yeah, that's... you know what? I see this now. This all tracks logically.
I feel like Drinkwater overbought bug spray one year.
Mm-hmm.
That's also possible.
For the department.
Yeah, there's just a surplus of police-issued bug spray. Rather than they use bug spray rather than any kind of pepper spray at all.
There was a budget mix-up one year.
Budget cuts, yeah.
What I was saying, they're a small rural town. They're not using any of that pepper spray. They're just shooting suspects.
Why buy separate pepper spray and bug spray when you could just buy bug spray?
True.
Mm-hmm. So Kenny does show up, and he has bought a pony.
Because he's awful.
Because he is such a desperate, please love me type of character. As we get to learn more about Kenny, we learn more and more about his pathetic, insecure, attention-seeking behavior.
Oh, man.
To the point where, I just don't see, how did Janet, or how did,
Evie.
Or, I'm sorry, Evie, fall for this guy to begin with? Was it out of pity?
Or wedlock.
And, yeah, so we get to the meeting between Stan and Kenny, And Stan and Kenny kind of immediately bond.
Instant bromance.
Oh yeah.
Well, to be fair, Evie basically predicts that. She's like, "You're both awful. Go for it."
You'll both get along.
Yeah. And I mean, to his credit, Kenny does roll up in a Detroit Diamond.
Yes,
I mean, that car.
It's pretty cool. It's the motorcycle of cars, Les. Whatever that means.
It is. It is. It is the motorcycle of cars. Keeps the pavement in line with a slap of an 8-cylinder.
Hey, you want to go get a beer? Yeah, okay, let's go.
The motorcycle of cars, I was like, oh, fuck, that's great.
And they leave Evie to make a post for our new pony. I believe they named Daffodil.
Yes.
Well, she gets a pieced.
I love that
It's
a post from IKEA, so of course Evie pronounces it a poost. Like,
It's got like umlauts over the O.
and of course, like, and we're all finished except for this piece, which is just some inexplicably left over and will now haunt me forever. So,
And of course, then she ties up Daffodil, who's starting to win her over.
yeah, and it's like,
Those
oh,
ponies are adorable.
I can't stay mad at you.
Daffodil is fucking adorable. Like, I mean, I know you don't have to go far to find a cute pony. I mean, they're ponies, for God's sake. But at the same time, like, man, I feel like Casting outdid themselves. Like, that pony's fucking adorable.
I mean, not to jump ahead, but remember, all the love in the world can be seen in the pony's eyes.
Yeah. And it sure does seem...
This episode has such great dialogue.
I love the... I love the idea of, like, if we go back to the IKEA post for a second, wouldn't it be great if, like, we had a demon-possessed or haunted IKEA furniture in which, like, all their, like, missing parts or, like, it was, like, actually was, like, demon possession or the IKEA instructions or some sort of evil ritual that no one ever gets right? But what if you actually put together an IKEA instruction, if you actually follow them all correctly, and then used all the pieces,
You summon a demon?
you summon a demon or the end of days or something.
Yeah, honey, I bought a bookshelf. It's called a Dorkshin. Yeah, it says it takes a year to build. We have to seal the house.
I love it.
There's a book called Horror Store by Grady Hendrix that is about a haunted. They can't call it IKEA, but it is clearly an IKEA store, and the book itself looks like a physical IKEA manual or like the catalog. But Horror Store is great. It's a bunch of employees trapped in a haunted IKEA store.
That's great. I want to watch that right now.
That does sound amazing.
It's a book. I wish they'd adapt it. It's fucking great.
Oh, okay.
Grady Hendrix. Everybody should check that out.
You have to send me the link to it because I want to read it.
Or send it to the Stand Against Evil people so they can just make an episode of it.
Yeah, I'm sure they wouldn't be.
Oh,
They would definitely do that. So who should come along but Denise?
Denise? Are you okay?
Did you really think a pony was just going to gallop into town without me knowing? What did I miss?
Well, he ate a magazine.
Oh, no. This backyard is way too big for a pony. We don't want him to feel small. We should build a whole pony-sized town to boost his self-confidence. Hey, little guy, you're gonna be the mayor of Ponytown. I'm gonna get my tools.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I loved it. I mean, like, as soon as she gets halfway across the yard, I was like, it even hit me of like, oh, of course Denise could, like, I'm amazed we didn't have a moment of her just looking up suddenly from
Yeah, just sensing
wherever she
it.
was. Yeah, her pony sense.
I feel it. Come.
But of course, Daffodil's in too big a yard. Like, I love Denise's immediate, like, you can't have him in a yard this big.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have him feel small. We have to build a town.
We have to build a whole pony town.
You'll be mayor of Ponytown. Get my tools. Yeah, like, and
Evie just doesn't.
Like you were saying, the episode really coming together. Evie has hit a point fully in this where she doesn't try it. She reacts to Denise the same way she reacts to the extra IKEA piece of like, this will bother me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, she's like,
I don't think that's going to go well.
I'm sure that won't end great.
It's been like all of 7 minutes
like,
of the episode, and Evie is already done.
Yeah, you start to see how Stan is this tired at this point because like I love seeing the same like world weary like what coming off of Evie now.
It's just like you don't want to fight Denise on it because that would take so much energy.
Trying to explain to her anything.
Yep, way better to let her try the dentist company. Way better to just let her build Ponytown.
Yeah, and then I do love that she's like, well, yeah, we got to build him a pony-sized town to boost his confidence. just projecting her own like confidence issues onto animals. I love it. But unfortunately, Daffodil unties itself via its hoof, which is just like, okay,
it's just somebody. The angle that the hoof comes up and hits the thing.
Yeah.
Like there's no way. Like there's no fucking way that horse's leg bent like that. I love little crap like that. Of like, the show takes on this madcap. It's not caring, but there's a shrug off of details that like we don't have to sweat.
Well,
like we used a practical effect. Here's a hoof. Shut up. Flap.
Who gives a shit if this is obviously a hoof puppet that we're using to throw to take care of this knot that's not really a knot?
I think it's fine.
Yeah, like it adds to the like, I don't know, screwball. Who gives a fuck? Just roll with it.
Yeah.
And I love that about this show.
I love it. It really just follows like an episode of like Sesame Street of the Muppets, where the puppets like do stuff, but it's clearly them not doing stuff. You know, like how Cookie Monster will technically eat cookies, quote unquote.
Picks up and crumbles a cookie into a felt thing.
But it's clearly just crumbling a cookie all over the place and felt.
I don't think he ate that. Yeah.
And so there's a certain charm to it that I really like.
I wouldn't exactly call it suspension of disbelief, but more like stop caring about this.
Hey, come on, man! Like, I'm trying to make a Werepony show here.
Exactly. Like I'm trying to make a Werepony show here for.
We don't have time for this.
You're gonna have to give us some rope here. Come on, man.
Can we mention in the pony transformation scene? We'll bring it up when it happens next.
Well, I mean, we only have to bring on the Werepony attack, which, of course, a woman is hanging her laundry and she gets attacked by Daffodil. And,
that's an amazing scene.
And of course, man, I don't know what it is.
Well, you're saying it's a pony, but Drinkwater's got another theory.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Like, I love Drinkwater's cold call to email to Evie of just like. There's been a murder.
There's been a murder. And I love he's got the glasses on, like even at night, and he takes them off, and he's like,
"It's Leon. There's been a murder.
What?
And something tells me the thread count of these sheets is 666."
Yes, like Drinkwater's pathetic and sad, but he's not like the worst this episode.
No, he's actually doing his job poorly. But
I'm kind of
stunned.
doing it.
There's a distinct feeling of effort going on.
Like, for Drinkwater, this is trying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, I feel like this is like 1,000%. Like, I kind of want to know what's up with Drinkwater, that he seems half competent. For Drinkwater, he seems fully competent this episode.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think he's gotten into the police supply of cocaine rather than the police supply of weed this episode, if I had to hazard a guess. But... yeah, I love the pony attack too, because it is just such a standard.
It's just a pony mask, and it's great.
Well, it's great because it's just shot like it's just a standard animal or monster attack from any other show.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it's a fucking pony makes it like 1,000 times funnier to me.
And the whole dread, like Winnie behind the sheets, and like they do the build up of like the woman looking around, and also. Bravo to Stan, a show I have given shit to about this, for throwing what looks to be a good-sized bucket of fake blood towards those sheets. Like, that looked like a decent, like,
to go back in the wash.
Home Depot... yeah. Like, I loved Evie's reaction of, like, well, she needs to go to the morgue, and all of these are going to have to go to the wash.
Yeah, that's great. And I believe that's, Stan and Kenny are hanging out at the bar.
They're hanging out at home, but they're watching Bowling for Parole or something.
That actually comes a little bit later. First, they're at the bar, and he gives him the skinny of like, I'm going to get Evie back.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Oh yeah. He's there to win her back.
Which is just a quick.
Like, you sure you want another bite of that apple?
Which is a great Stanism. Like, I'm not like it's. Which actually, that's one of his euphemisms that does seem to make sense. Like, I can kind of get what he's saying.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a quick scene to establish like them getting like buddying up and being friends, and
Also, to find out that Kenny just wants to be back on Evie's insurance because his teeth are falling out.
Well, no, his teeth are
All of
about
his
to
back
crumble.
teeth are going to crumble.
Like, that's what his
any
day, as doctor says.
Gross.
So, yeah, Evie gets the call, this is how he gets invited over to Stan's place, is that Kenny's like, well, I guess I can find a motel or something, and Stan's like, I wouldn't hear of it. You can sleep in my my daughter's room or whatever. Like, well, wouldn't that, like...
What about her?
And it's like, oh, don't worry, Denise sleeps on a tire swing. Like, we just, one time we found her out there with a dead owl on her belly. Which...
Yeah, she didn't even notice.
And she didn't even notice, and that was great. Well, I mean, maybe she fell asleep building a puzzle, and then the owl, like, in its last death throes, decided to fuck up that puzzle.
Yeah.
So, I love this really sad read on Denise of just, like, she sleeps in a tire swing, and we just find her out there sometimes. And it's just, like, obviously, Stan is like, yeah, we can't get her to sleep inside. She just... I don't know what to tell you. She just sleeps out there, and it's just...
I feel like Stan's the kind of parent that would be like, I don't know, the kid screams all night, every night. Something about him. Like, like, you'd be watching a horror movie where there's legitimately a monster in a kid's closet that, like, is clearly doing it. And this Stan would be the parent going, I don't know, the child just wails 7 hours a night. Mm-hmm. He must enjoy it.
She's like the mom from Little Evil, in which there's just like,
yes,
like it's just like a satanic sign.
Shrugs it all off.
Satanic sign written on the walls.
Like, I don't know, she sleeps out in the yard.
So creative.
Or do we ever stop to think that maybe Denise did see monsters, considering that just because Stan's completely oblivious to the fact that he was cursed doesn't mean that she wasn't?
Well,
I think that's giving Denise more observation credits than
unless
I have not seen further into the... Like, I haven't seen further into the show, but, I mean, it's not an unbelievable plot line down the road to me that Denise should be the next witch of the town protecting sheriffs.
Oh, that would be a great plot twist. I would actually really like that.
And like straight up unprepared for it, but like that it'd be a matrilineal magic or something like that, and like Denise is supposed to be the one protecting the next sheriff or whatever. And
no, that actually would be really funny. I think that would open up the doors for a lot of really good stuff.
Well, I would love to see a Denise spinoff show where she's supposed to be in charge of protecting the town.
Anyway, what's it? Evie is looking for the pony that's run off. And our Werepony transform. We get the Werepony transformation back into Stephen Ogg. And that's great. Like this whole transformation practical sequence that I think we were talking a little bit off mic, but yeah, they ripped it completely from like American Werewolf in London.
Yep.
Which yeah, they do the like stretched legs and the like various like cuts to like the shaking back and forth. It looks like they make 2 or 3 steps of half human, half pony head mask. With kind of a greasy plastic look that's just disgusting. And they cut to a black and white, or like a greenish gray color for it as well, which I feel like helps the practical effect. But I wanted to stand up and applaud that they leaned into the practical effect on the Werepony.
Yep, that was great. Considering we saw some CGI work in the beginning episodes, that was surprising how much practical Werepony stuff that they used here.
Right.
And I'm just
also the tail.
The front of the tail that goes back into his pants.
The tail goes through
back into him, and it leaves a hole in his jeans. And then it cuts to the look of Stephen Ogg's face of like.
Yeah, it's a great transformation, including like transforming into clothes as well, which is always a great like. Wait a minute, you can transform it with clothes? Like, how does that work? But yeah, I love the transformation. Stephen Ogg comes out and meets up with Evie and tells him that, oh, I almost ran into your pony. I went into a ditch. Can I use your phone to call a tow truck? And Evie's like, oh, you didn't happen to see which way it went, did you? And I love Stephen Ogg's response is like, oh, don't worry, he'll come back. It's the pony code. Like, the pony code.
You can clearly tell he made it up on the spot, because he was going to say that not to worry about it because he was opposite the pony, but he thought better of that. It was like, it's pony code. Yeah, that's totally it.
Oh, that's the pony code. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, that's when we get the call from Leon about the murder, and Evie has to go out and investigate. I like that. She gives the line about she needs to go to a morgue and these need to go in the wash, and then Leon has a drawing of the suspect of what he thinks the suspect might look like, which is this like person with vampire teeth and just unbelievably
huge teeth,
sideburns.
And why does he have sideburns, Nick?
Why does any man, Les? Because it's a sign of power.
Yes, they're a sign of authority and power. And I like that Evie looks at Drinkwater for a moment, because it's like, well, wait, you don't have nobody says anything, but I sat there for a second of like, Drinkwater has no sideburns and is clearly envious of them. There's a story here. I bet Drinkwater cannot grow facial hair.
Well, I can't really grow sideburns either. My facial hair comes in all weird and patchy, so I feel Drinkwater's pain on this. It also grows in red, which is weird.
Yeah, you're weird.
Because
hey, I mean, Kenny can only grow hair under one armpit, but he's no monster.
Nick might actually be a monster, though. It's fine.
That's a weird thing. Do you think he got like burned underneath an armpit at one point,
or just he's a defect baby?
Like a.
I want to go back and Evie has a line about her and Kenny's relationship, of like who they are, or that like, oh no, we've been together. It was the Hindenburg meets the Titanic, and they had a baby, and that baby was Kanye West.
Yes,
like that's the worst relationship. Is that actually later?
A little bit later. Sorry, I want to get to it, but
that line.
We'll talk about it now.
I've actually had a ring on that finger, and it was like the Hindenburg met the Titanic, and they had a baby, and that baby was Kanye West.
What a great reference. Sometimes jokes don't age well in certain shows. The fat shaming in Goonies is not exactly as funny now as it once was.
There's a whole part of Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura, the whole transphobia thing is not exactly as unbelievably hilarious as we might have found it in the 90s. But there are certain jokes that age like a fine wine, and anything dealing with Kanye West has now gotten immediately funnier.
Yeah.
I love that they list it like Hindenburg, Titanic, Kanye.
Yeah. If the Hindenburg and the Titanic had a baby, and that baby's name was Kanye West, which is just a great burn. Like, what a great
insulting to everybody involved.
Yeah, what a great level of like. Anytime anything else goes wrong, that's the reference point I'm going to use. Is like, well, is it the Hindenburg meets the Titanic and having a baby, and that baby's not Kanye West? Is it not that bad yet? Okay, then there's still some room to save it. There's still some time.
I think we have to write that down as a Cards Against Humanity card now.
Yeah, that would be.
And that
a great
is later
one.
on, because she makes that. Yeah, because Evie says that to Daffodil in human form. That's right. That is later on. Because I remember thinking, like, I wonder how up on culture references human ponies are.
Yeah,
he looks like he spent the last decade or so in pony form and just missed the aughts.
It sure seems like he didn't age much, or his sense of style didn't evolve much.
Like he became a pony right after Urban Cowboy came out in like 82 or so.
No, it was actually just Brokeback Mountain, and he had to stay in pony form just to hide that.
Wow, a Brokeback Mountain reference. I did not know we were going to go that way.
Well, he just said that he missed all the aughts, so I just kind of assumed.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
So, judging by the time period. All right, so what was our next one? Oh, yeah,
well, Evie has to go find the pony again in the morning. Mm-hmm. And, well, it's all right, because Denise found him.
Well, I mean, we've skipped over the more Stan and Kenny bonding. Because they're sitting at home watching TV, in which the TV show that they're watching is Bowling for Parole.
Yes.
Which is great. We've already seen the
Did you hear the rules on Bowling for Parole that they said too? It's not just that you're bowling for your freedom. It's where convicted felons risk a double or nothing.
Whoa, yeah. Okay, I see.
I love that playing that game show sounds far worse for your stretch of time than you could possibly win.
If you're going in for life.
Right?
Or
let's say you've got 10 years and you risk this. What the fuck? I don't know.
But I mean, if you're already life, who cares if you get a double life sentence when you have a chance of freedom?
It's true. It's true.
I love that all the TV shows in this universe are somehow like these messed up weird versions of reality TV. Like even the nature documentaries are all about like snakes being penises and like it.
That's right. If your penis were evil and lived in the
it's like if the TV is in the transitional period of that where we're almost to the movie Idiocracy. Like there's a couple like jumping points we have to go through, or this is just the beginning stages. This is the transitional phase between our current world and the Hunger Games. We have to work our way up, and like one of those in between shows is Bowling for Parole.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they start talking about like, oh man, isn't it great to be men? Me and Kenny went shopping for cargo shorts. Took 30 seconds, no trying them on, no discussing it at all. Just bought them, went in and bought them like men.
Men with matching shorts.
I love it. He was like, yeah, men with matching shorts. Like, what? Don't you love the pockets? Look at these pockets. Which, in his defense, like they got some pockets. They were great utility leg wear.
Yeah, and I love Evie's like, Stan, I was going to tell you about an animal attack and ask you weird questions about a guy I met, or ask you questions about a weird guy, but you got your hands full.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Kenny just starts making noises.
Well, he's asleep, and he's having some sort of nightmare.
Or a puppy dream, I can't
It's
tell
like
which.
weird it's like a chirping puppy dream in his sleep, but he's holding a bag of white flour.
Yeah.
Like he got drunk, fallen asleep, like eating flour, like you would eat chips directly out of a bag or something. I just sitting there like, nah, man, even drunk, like, we've all been through a pantry in a dorm room or something where, like, all we have is baking soda and flour. We absolutely cannot just eat those. You can't. You just can't take a handful of flour and just enjoy it.
Not if you want to continue having self-respect. But Kenny doesn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, that's true. Kenny was well past that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's like that sober, so.
Well, anyway, we do find Denise in the morning with
Daffodil.
With Daffodil, she has made Ponytown.
She started to. She's got the gate of Ponytown.
It's got a drugstore.
Mm-hmm. That's right. It's going to be so many ponies. It's going to be so good.
Yeah, and she knows exactly when Daffodil came home for whatever reason.
5:47 in the morning.
Which is just an odd thing that like they never really bring up again. But like, was she actively waiting for the pony to show up and then mark the time?
Like that,
and
Evie
record
actively chooses to not follow up on it.
Yeah, because like, again,
how
Evie
would
is
you?
Just already sick of this
you
shit.
know what? Yeah.
I love that we see her process of not asking Denise about it. She looks at her, she thinks about it for a half second, lets it go, and then moves on to the next thing.
Yep. Well, she has to because Kenny runs up, calling her his pet name for her, which is Sugar Melons.
Sugar Melons. Wow.
She said it like 3 times before it clicked of like, dude, are you calling her Sugar Melons while you run up the yard?
I honestly thought he was talking to the horse at first.
Yeah, it's actually one of those things that's so sexist that it actually takes a while to register. Like,
I think it wasn't until he got nearer with his hands out, and I was like, Jesus Christ, you are really calling her Sugar Melons with both hands forward.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, 1 is like, wow, okay.
2, she's armed. Maybe you shouldn't do that.
Well, and then also 3, like, again, Evie, what's the deal here? Like, was he different before? Was he less pathetic? What happened here? The mystery of why she would date this person is just like, because we've seen...
They kind of do have a little conversation about that at the end between her and Stan.
I mean, Evie's not the most perfect person in the world, but she's kind of a badass, and we've seen her have self-confidence. I mean, she does have her own insecurities too, but to the point of dating Kenny, I feel like there must have been a low point in her life that we just have not seen.
I'm pretty sure it's something to do with wedlock. Like, she got drunk once, had sex with him. That's how she got her daughter. Had some conservative parents, forced to marry.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yeah, I mean, normally when we get like ex-husband like storylines and TV shows, it's always like a super handsome guy, and like everyone loves him, and it's like, oh well, how'd you let this one go? He seems nice. And it's like, yeah, he only seems nice. It's like, or you just need to know him after a while, or he never sticks around. He's never commits. And in this one, it's kind of like Stan is the only one that seems to like him.
Yeah.
And everyone else is just like, wow, what a pathetic loser. But But yeah, he says that he's going to get her back, and he's like, yeah, that's never going to happen. And he responds back with,
I've never been afraid of a challenge, except when there are stakes.
Can we just go ahead and elect Kenny MVP right now?
yeah, I mean, most vile person, I do believe Drinkwater is not even in the running. He's not even in the running today. I think they gave Kenny a lot of Drinkwater type lines, and I'm not sure if he's as much vile as he is just pathetic, which is the only thing that makes him that would even make him not a candidate for me. But
I don't know. He practically sexually molests her at times.
I mean, Sugar Melons is not great. Like that gives you a lot of points, I feel like. But yeah, how does this scene resolve again? Where he
starts trying to kiss her, and she's like, "No, that's not what I want." And he continues trying, and then he basically huffs off in a pout, and she yells at him saying "Don't do that." And he's like, "This is how I walk now.
Don't hang dog."
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what she was saying before he kissed her. And was like,
Kenny, the toothpaste is out of the tube. Okay? And the reason the toothpaste is out of the tube is because the toothpaste had sex with our neighbor.
Everybody needs toothpaste.
That was not an invitation!
That was not that was not an invitation. How did you read that? How did you read that into it? So that's great. And what do we? The next scene is it's another Stan and Kenny scene, and this is where Stan and Kenny's relationship has soured somewhat. Because Kenny
is an understatement,
and Kenny is crying
over ice cream while watching a chick flick.
And yeah, I think Stan comes in and he thinks it's Denise watching it, and he yells, "I've told you 1,000 times that the only chick flick we allowed in this house is Terminator 2," which, well, that's a great reference point. And I love that that's what Stan considers a chick flick.
Yeah.
In the fact that it has a woman in it. So
I think that's not sexist. I can't tell.
Look, Stan doesn't come off particularly great in this episode either.
No,
I'm not gonna lie. But
yeah, he doesn't sexually harass anybody, so I give him the win.
But we're not done being misogynistic and or homophobic in this scene.
Yeah. Things did not go well with Eve today, and she rejected me again.
Because you're gay?
I'm not gay.
You're crying, aren't you?
God damn
the full stop. That Stan's entire definition of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Stan immediately decides, all right then,
diaper.
you're leaving then. Just proceeds to try to kick him out.
So even though it comes from a pretty homophobic place, I do like that we get to see David Koechner yell, "I'm a big gay baby."
You're right. I'm a big baby. I'm a big gay baby. Change my diaper.
I do find that very amusing.
That is
Change my diaper.
Change my diaper. Change my big gay diaper. It's got rainbows in it. So, boy, this is where we go back to the bar, I think. No. The Stan does invite him to not stay anymore. To hey, there's a great motel somewhere down. I forget what did he say?
The Red Roof Inn or something?
Red Roof Inn. He's like, didn't you say that place burned down? Not all of it. And we cut back to the bar scene and where Evie is actually
interrogating. I mean, she's looking for leads.
Yeah, she's actually doing her job, which is good on her. She gets interrupted by Stephen Ogg. Does he get a name other than?
They give him a name at the end.
And I have to find, because he gives a fake name to her, and I was trying to
Russell
find out.
Ponyman.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
We'll discuss that a little in just a second. I forgot that it was, but we'll call him Russell for now.
But it's not an IMDb or anything. He's just Werepony in the credits.
Yeah,
but he does give a fake name that's amazing.
So Russell comes in and orders himself a whiskey, orders her a Shirley Temple, and is like, "Oh, come on, man!" She has a great line of "Oh, well, I'm not a little lady and I'm leaving." So, and yeah, he talks about "Oh, it's obvious you're having man troubles," and he's talking about the mixed feelings, and this is where we get the Kanye line.
Yes,
that is just fucking great. And
It's like, there's not mixed feelings here.
yeah, and she's like, well, it's nice to see you, Rusty. And then I think he's like, I'll see you around the barnyard or something. All this ominous pony, like, double entendres that are just like, what is that? I'll see you around the barnyard. I mean, and then we get back with Kenny and Stan, where we get the reveal of he can only grow hair under one armpit. And that doesn't make me a monster. And... oh, I'm sorry. This is where he invites him to not stay anymore. And
Yeah, I'm going to go grab another bottle of rosé. I think has got to be one of the manliest things anyone has ever said.
yeah, that's a great line. It's pretty good. Oh man, who's this? The next scene here is the I forget where we are actually. The
Kenny, I love Kenny's parting shot of like, okay, I'll leave, but I want you to know I left the new issue of Jugs in the Crapper. There's a Q&A with Hal Needham that'll blow your mind. Hal Needham being the director of Smokey and the Bandit.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was just like, I had to pause a moment of like, well, Jugs is a real magazine, and Hal Needham and that would be exactly like, wow, that would be like the holy grail of fucking magazines for you two dudes.
It would be.
Yeah, and then, of course, we get the Russell comes up to Evie as she's walking home. He's like, "Hey, I was kind of a jerk back there. I just wanted to apologize and see if I couldn't make it up to you somehow." But Kenny shows up a little bit later. Is like, and they kind of have a face off. He
also pulls out flowers for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that too. And then, of course, Evie is like, it's not gonna happen, Kenny. All right, it's just it's over. And I love that Russell gets all jealous and starts to eat the flowers.
Yes. Oh man!
After they both leave,
and
which is a great like intimidating. He looks at him all intimidating, like you. So he gives a great mean bug face, but he's also eating flowers, which is
he really commits to it. Man, that's a huge bite. I love it. It's great.
And yeah, that is a huge bite of what I'm assuming must be some sort of edible prop that he can just spit out later.
It was great. It really works.
And Kenny is like, Kenny of course goes out like quite the man here, where he's like, "Well, can I crash on your porch?"
No.
All right, fine. Well, maybe I'll just sleep behind your trash cans, and you won't even ever know. And then he like has this weird like grunt sort of squeal that he does, like really that weird. As he walks away, or as he like runs away, like it's
the most petulant like whine noise, like.
And as he's walking away, I don't know. It's maybe I'll just play the audio here because I can't do it justice of this like pathetic sound of like I didn't even know a human could make. Him and Russell meet up by the car as he's crying, and they start to like buy like, "Hey, maybe I can grab you a beer." And it's like, "Can I get 2? Can I have 2 beers?"
Well, it's like there's so many tiny pathetic moments in that little exchange. Like he puts his fist out to bump, like hell yeah,
man,
and puts his fist out to bump it, and Daffodil or Russell doesn't fist bump him back, but kind of pets his knuckle. But as he's walking around to the other side of the car, Kenny practices sup. Like he practices manning himself back up a little bit. It's the saddest fucking thing.
It's so pathetic.
I gotta really give credit to David. I know I'm trying to pronounce Kechner or
I think it's. I have no idea.
Kechner. Well, David K. Playing Kenny here. I really think he really sells a lot of the comedy in this episode of just this pathetic ex-husband character, and it really is super just great to see him break down as a human.
Either of y'all seen Cheap Thrills?
Yes, I have seen Cheap Thrills. I liked it. Travis didn't much care for it.
He's the one that lays the money down for all of that. Just a hoot and a half of a movie, if nobody's watched that.
Yeah, it's a great dark dark movie if anyone's interested in.
I will warn you, as much as I like David Kay in it, it is one of the few movies where the people watching it with me have ever looked at me afterwards and gone, "Fuck you. I don't like how I feel now, and I can't believe you got me to watch that."
Hey, I got the same experience when I showed my friends that. That's great. And yeah, it's not exactly Stand Against Evil fun times with it.
Yeah. Russell Horse Guy. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the guy's name again. Russell Horse Guy Ponyman.
That's great. And we can get to that part too, because that part's coming up. And I think Evie is like, after Kenny and Russell go right off, Evie gets a call from Drink. No, she actually hangs with Stan first.
She storms into Stan's place, and he gives her the, like, you walked in without knocking. The only person that can do that is Fonzie.
Yeah,
you sure ain't Fonzie.
But yeah, then she gets the call from Drinkwater that the lab results are back.
Yeah, because Leon is still doing his job.
Yeah.
Now, granted, his theory's way off. Like, she's like, "Oh, so a pony committed the murders?" And I love his like, "Well, I was thinking of a man with giant teeth who makes pony saliva, but your theory works."
Oh, that's great. And I love that she goes, "Oh, wait a second," and then has the flashback to like,
what was your name again?
Ponyman. Russell, horse guy, Ponyman.
Like this. And she goes, "Huh?" And then like it comes out of the flashback, like, "Ah, shit!" And like I should have known it from then. And it's just a great little line of like, "Oh, god damn it!"
Well, it's great too because you also realize that, like, wait, so Kenny and Russell went out together. Why'd that happen? And she talks to Stan and realizes that, Stan, did you break up with him too?
Is Kenny still here?
I had to nip that one in the bud.
You broke up with him too?
No, we still text.
Which you know's bullshit, man. Who's Stan text with? Mm-hmm. You know he has a moral opposition to texting.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it is the fact that he can be a lot lazier via the text. Like,
just ignore him.
He probably had Denise program in some speed things, like I just hit 1 and send, and it makes an auto reply. Yeah,
like the less people Stan can interact with in a day, I think is the best for Stan. I think that's his goal.
And of course, Evie has to argue with Stan to like get him to get up out of the chair. I think he's going to make some kettle corn, have another beer. But yeah. Oh, and this is also I think this is where we find out that Evie has now abused her authority.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she put the tracker on the car.
All right, his car is at Old Country Road 4 in Arrowhead. What's there?
How the hell do you know where his car is?
I may have put a transponder on his car.
Evelyn Barrett, welcome to the bigs, baby.
Welcome to the bigs.
Welcome to the big leagues, baby. And I love that Stan's so proud of her. And he's like, "Well, let's just go." And I think Stan is like, makes it like, "Well, I was gonna make kettle corn." And but Evie drags him along anyway. And we see back with Kenny and Russell. Kenny is tied to the chair, and I love, like, it's the end of the road, my friend. Did I black out already? And I like this dialogue that apparently Russell has fallen in love with Evie. It's like, I was supposed to kill her, but I fell for her hard, like a newborn colt nuzzling its mama. I love that he can't.
You mucked everything up.
He can't speak in anything that's not like horse or pony related.
Yeah.
Like everything.
Yes, I was noticing that.
Like that is
even muck things up. That's a horse stall term. Like,
yeah. It's just everything is this horse like turn of phrase with him. That's just really funny. And Kenny's trying to get out of like, okay, you win. Maybe can we just go get that beer now, man? And you're not going to kill me, are you? And this has to be...
It's the best line.
This is the best line ever, in which Russell goes,
No, I'm no killer. But the pony... The pony needs blood.
And Stephen Ogg does a great, like, lip flap.
He does. That is great. And I realized in this moment of like, this is why I am glad Stand Against Evil exists. This is the reason I watch Stand Against Evil, is for people to deliver the line, the pony needs blood without any sense of irony at all.
And a straight face.
And the next thing, they do that transformation again from human back to pony. And I realized in that moment, the only thing better than them going for the American Werewolf in London style is giving me a conscious character in the room to watch it and comment.
Yeah.
Because Kenny
God.
going, I don't like this. Oh my God. What the fuck?
That was my favorite phrase of where he just amid his screaming is like, I don't like this. I don't like this. I
don't like this.
Disgusting. Yeah.
Just a random of like commentary of how he's feeling is funny. But yeah, Les, correct me if I'm wrong, but this show has never been more middleman than the pony line, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. I would fully agree. Like, I'm no killer, but the pony needs blood.
It almost matches the tuba changes everything from the cursed tuba episode of Middleman.
In the icy waters of the North Atlantic? Yeah, like it hits that like the pony needs blood. Yeah.
Oh man, that's
just
great.
Fully ridiculous at this point.
Well, and the climax that happens next is one of the best do we shoot it arguments.
Yeah.
Because like when Evie and Stan burst in to save before that, when he transforms, moonlight comes through, or some kind of light like bursts through the cracks in the like very spooky like light through the wooden planks of the shed they're in. Right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you think it's like midnight or something, like he's transforming, right? I have no fucking clue what transforms a werepony.
I don't know.
Because...
Well, look, he both transforms at night and is a pony during the day. So I thought for sure that he transforms into a human at night and that he's a pony during the day. Or at least
it seems more like he just transforms whenever he needs to feed the pony.
But I think that's more of his thing. Like, he's one of the the underworld werewolves.
Like, I really felt like they flipped day for night, and it kind of felt like one of Stand Against Evil show-wide, like, that, don't worry about that.
It's just
because he transforms, and I was sure it was night, and that moonlight was streaming through, and because, I mean, they had, the timeline, like, the very next moment, they kick the door open, and it's fucking daylight.
Yeah, they kick the door open, and it is at least midday, like, the sun is out and shining.
Yeah, so, that's how he transforms. Apparently. Daytime.
Apparently it takes a while. Maybe it takes hours.
Maybe
it's
hours of Kenny screaming,
slow.
I don't like this.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Like, it's like 12 hours of tied to a chair while someone very slowly transforms.
Oh.
I never said they were
man, now I want to see a werewolf
creatures.
movie where somebody molts, where it takes like a month.
Yeah, they pop in with shotguns and is like, oh, shoot it, kill it. And they look in his eyes. Are we sure it's evil? Like, we 100%
I mean, it's
on that.
adorable. We know Kenny's an asshole and he's tied up. Like, the pony might be right. I don't know.
And it's like, man, I love Stan is like, look at her eyes. In which, of course, he's mistaken the pony for a girl.
Look at her eyes. They say all the love in the world lives inside of a pony's eyes.
And of course, Kenny is just this entire time screaming, blow its head off! Blow the fucker's head off!
And Evie does a genius move.
Yeah, and I love that Evie is like, well, I think I've changed my mind, Kenny. I want to get the Barrett band back together. And this enrages Daffodil / Russell, horse guy, ponyman. And they're like, all right, let's kill it. And
they proceed to blow its head off.
Let's kill it.
Happy trails.
And so they blow its fucking head off, which is great. Of course, when we see it in the light and it's transformed back into a human, it has a huge gaping chest wound.
And there's actually a hole in the hat, too.
Mm-hmm. And there's a hole in the hat, so I'm like...
Oh, I didn't notice the hole in the hat, but they did a giant bat symbol almost size, like, missing out of his chest. Like, it looks like an old He-Man toy or something with the piece missing.
Which is interesting that, I guess, when you transform for a werepony, the head is the chest, because that's the part they blew off.
Yeah.
And
I kind of want to see the anatomy research on this now. Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm a little confused.
Where does it go? Where does it come from?
What are the last lines of our evil werepony? Why, they are, I was supposed to kill you, but I couldn't. Thank you for the carrots.
Given that the werepony kills a previous share, like, I paused for a moment of like, all right, are wereponies more involved in this town than I realize? Because, I was supposed to kill you, but I couldn't.
Yep.
Yeah, so obviously it leads me to the conspiracy of like all the different demons and stuff, witches and all the crazy things that are trying to kill them. There must be some sort of contract or where they can only attack one at a time, or like they send them in like one at a time. There must be a whole rules or like some sort of convention that they get together and like compare notes or something. Like
Yep. Yeah, I feel like it's the same negotiation deal that doomed all of Bruce Lee's enemies in every movie.
Yeah.
Of like, why did we contractually obligate ourselves one at a time? We should be able to fight as a group. The union says no.
It's always the union's fault.
And I like that Kenny is like, did you really mean what you said about us? No, not even a little, Kenny.
And he just kind of pouts off again.
And he just like,
Yep.
Oh! Oh!
Yeah, he does the exact same, like, man, runs off or half. This is just how I walk now.
I love that the day is saved and everything is wrapping up, and Stan and Evie are shit talking Kenny together, bonding because of course.
Oh, all the weeping!
Like he comes in with his
don't even get
cool
me
and
started on the
sweet
weeping.
car, but it's all an act. So needy, and I love that. Stan and Evie, of course, are like, we're supposed to think that, Stan and Kenny are getting along because of how similar they are.
Yep.
But no, that's not what it is. They're getting along because of how similar Stan and Evie are. Like, Stan's arc in this episode is the exact same arc as Evie's with, I can only assume, with this character.
Yeah.
And they both shit talk him together and like how pathetic he is,
It's such
and
a
they
bonding
bond
moment.
over it.
Well, because while Kenny's wanting to get back together with Evie, he kind of, he just uses Stan Stan fills the same void in him. Like, I mean, his relationship with Evie is definitely not a like two adults relationship. It's a dependent child kind of shit, and so he gets the same thing off Stan.
Oh yeah, she could probably take him in and mark him off as a dependent on our taxes.
I feel like Kenny has probably filed taxes like that without telling her.
Yeah.
I bet Kenny's taxes say he's a dependent on hers.
And surprisingly, we don't see Grace but at all in this episode, rather than the first couple.
Just drop that kid off, and who is she with this whole episode?
Yeah, because we see both parents this time, so it's not like, where the fuck is this kid?
She doesn't even. That kid doesn't even help. I feel like most parents would have made the child build the post.
Yeah.
Pused.
The Pused. I just
your
want to
stupid
know,
pony.
how do you explain this scenario to a child? Why they no longer have a pony anymore?
Same as they don't have a daddy anymore, I guess.
Like,
let me introduce you to Russell's corpse. That was Daffodil. Yeah.
Russell, this here lies Russell Horse Guy Ponyman. We knew him but little.
And we called him Daffodil behind his back.
But we can't quite get out of here quite yet because Leon comes in. Of course, like, I found him, guys. Even though I don't think Leon should know where they are, other than I think he can follow him with the same transponder.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I bet there's a transponder on everybody's car.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's found his man. He actually has a dude with incredibly. I wouldn't say they're necessarily powerful and authoritative, but they're incredible sideburns.
They are,
and giant friggin' teeth.
Yeah.
They're just amazing.
Not sure if the lab has verified whether or not the man produces pony saliva.
I would believe it, though.
Look,
I actually would. He's creepy looking.
There is, like, I just find it amusing that Leon has this crazy theory this whole time, and he finds a dude that matches the description.
He commits, dude.
Like,
when he actually puts his mind to his job, he does commit.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I do love that he just takes a look, like, Stan and Evie don't even say anything to him. He just takes a look of around of what's going on, and then he releases the guy. It's like, all right, your story checks out this time.
This time.
Get out of here.
I would love to see, occasionally on shows they'll do the like, we'll do this episode purely from the point of view of the secondary characters. You know, like
Like
doing an episode at the high school where everybody else stands back and is like, man, does everything at this fucking school happen to those guys? Why? Or
what's it like?
Person of Interest.
Like that joke in
did
Community
one.
or the...
Yes. Community did one where it's like the not Community clique. Yeah. The non-study group kids.
They're trying to use the study hall and all these shenanigans. Like, sorry, we lost a pen in here. We're going to be in the next 5 hours.
All day? I need to study. Yeah. Person of Interest did one where they flipped it and went from one of the secondary, like you saw like, not just the B plot, but like the A plot was so far in the distance that you just see blips of it every once in a while. I would love to see this episode, but just Drinkwater out there, a man alone with a theory, really working the beat.
You probably just find out the fact that he just really does have insecurities while not being able to grow facial hair and has had a vendetta against this one guy who has these.
He probably has a list
cyborg.
of everybody with really magnificent facial hair in like a tri-county area that's like a suspect list of facial haired people. Yeah.
Yeah, only the pure of heart can't seem to grow facial hair. At least that's the Drinkwater
When I picture
method.
Drinkwater at home, I just picture Steve Buscemi from Billy Madison.
the lipstick list thing.
Yes.
Yeah. That's great.
I was just imagining him actually just clipping hair off all these people and like growing his own like beard to wear.
Yes. Yeah. Buffalo Bill style. He's got this huge beard.
Oh god.
So
beard toupee.
So that was Werepony, guys. So best episode of Stand Against Evil or best episode of TV ever? Really?
I mean, it's pretty up there.
It's pretty up there. It's fucking great. If you aren't enjoying this show yet, I'm not sure why you made it through this podcast.
If this episode doesn't make you like the show, there's nothing we can do.
Guys, go and watch Werepony.
It's amazing.
For real. Like, it's even a great... Show your friends Werepony if you're already fans, because it doesn't even deal with any of previous plot at all. Like, if that's probably why they put present day-ish in the beginning. Probably they
standalone episode
because they were like, we can throw this episode anywhere in the season 2 because it doesn't really have to match up with any of the timelines at all. Like, it doesn't mention Constable Eccles or even the witch. Like, it didn't even mention the curse or anything.
Well, it was in the beginning.
With the general mention of the curse from the first sheriff, the 1800s sheriff. And yeah, it's just a overall fantastic fucking episode. I greatly enjoy the practical effect work. I much enjoy that over any of the CG stuff that they use.
American Werepony in London.
I love the references, the actors they got for both, Stephen Ogg for the Werepony and David Kay for the, Evie's ex. Like, they're perfect casting. It's overall just, I don't know how this episode could be any better, except for, like, this is the only one where I feel like, it's over too soon. I wanted to see more Werepony shenanigans.
I wanted to see Denise get further with Ponytown and, like, attract more or see the bite be contagious.
Oh, boy, yes, that would be great.
And so, like, Denise is like, no, but now I have 5 ponies and you are not stopping this. I will have the whole, so that all of Willard's Mill is going to slowly become ponies, and Denise wants Ponytown, and they have to stop it, but it's going to ruin Ponytown. It writes itself, for fuck's sake.
Man, someone has to break the news to Denise too. That's a shame.
I would actually rather do it to Grace.
It's not just the daughter. You've also got to tell Denise that ponies. I'm sure she felt it.
She knew
as soon as the bullet went through the hat.
Do you think a pony could die in this town and I wouldn't know about it?
Right. I love that his clothes are part of him. Like, I'm always creeped out Mystique style by, like, her clothes are part of her skin, right?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming Mystique...
But like that breath popper in that hat, that's part of him.
I like the hat comes out of nowhere, too. Like, how does that work in the transformation?
Can he? He can take it off, I assume, but that's weird.
I don't know if he could.
Yeah, I always thought, with Mystique, it's just, like, her clothes that she wears must be just an extension of her skin, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or, like, they're all, like, their bodily material, right? So
Yeah.
when she takes them off, is she shedding skin? Is that how that works?
Theoretically.
Theoretically, yeah.
She can take off clothes. I've seen her take off clothes. Like, that's a thing she can
like,
do, right?
The most beautiful flowing gown you've ever seen really loses some allure when you think of it as skin flaps.
It is a little bit grosser.
Like when Marilyn is standing over that grate with her skin flaps. Like, no, not sexy.
Boy. But, yeah. That is all I have to say for this episode, because really it just speaks for itself, guys.
Yeah. What a great fucking show.
Oh, man, I don't know if I've ever had more fun talking about an episode. That's saying something.
Mm-hmm.
We've had some great episodes before. We've had Jaws references and goat demons. We've had Groundhog's Day episodes. We've had great stuff, and yet Werepony. We just haven't seen anything as majestic as Werepony before.
Yeah,
so
just takes the carrot.
It takes the carrot cake. Yeah, thank you so much again for joining us, Les. It was great having you on.
Yeah, thank y'all. Thanks for letting me ramble through your episode, man. I love this show.
Of course. Just as a reminder, if people were to want to find you and your stuff, or where you are online, where can they find you again?
TheTVDudes.com, and also at thegoodDieYoungTV.com. And after ATX Fest this weekend, I put together a couple of things, so I'm working on Good Die Young Season 2 now.
That is great. Definitely check that stuff out. It's a great content he's involved with. There's no Wereponies on his shows, so they can't be quite as good. So, I mean, at least in my opinion. But, there's still some good stuff going on there. If you would like to help out the show here, if you would like to help out Pod Against Evil, you can follow us on iTunes, subscribe to us on iTunes, maybe give us a review on iTunes. That would help out with visibility and stuff. Like us on our Facebook page, Pod Against Evil. Follow us on Twitter at Pod Against Evil. You can check us out for our regular show that we do on the UGO podcast, which is, of course, our regular also interview, convention episode coverage, geek news type catch-all show, as well as Netflix and Kill is also under the UGO network, in which Les has been on before, which is a fun movie review show we do for Netflix movies. But yeah, other than that, thank you so much, guys. But I feel like the moonlight has now struck, and I feel the change coming on now.
He's craving carrots. No,
and of course, as you all know, the pony needs blood. Nay! Oh, it's coming, Travis. I can't stop it. No. Nay.